Welcome back everyone to another episode on Beer, Bourbon, and Games. And today on the channel, we're going to take a look at one that I've been looking forward to for a while, and that is Wild Turkey's Longbranch.
Alright.
Now this is an interesting product. It is one that is a collaboration between Master Distiller Eddie Russell and the creative director of Matthew McConaughey. Now you knew that Wild Turkey was going to try to capitalize on Matthew McConaughey's success and star power when they signed him, and they weren't just going to put him in commercials to try to sell bourbon. So what they've done in this is they've actually gone ahead and let him design his own bourbon. Now there's a fun little mini documentary that you can watch on the making of this product. I think I'm going to throw a link down in the description. It's kind of an interesting watch, definitely worth your time. But it talks a little bit about Matthew McConaughey's idea for his bourbon and what he was trying to create. And I think when we taste it, we should get that idea. Overall, what he wanted was a very smooth drinking bourbon. He wanted a lower proof because he wanted something that people could drink neat and not have to water down with ice. And he wanted to somehow bring Kentucky and his hometown of Texas together. Now, in order to bring Matthew's idea to life, what they did was they borrowed a little bit of ideas from Jack Daniels and their Lincoln process. What they did was if you read here on the bottle, they used an oak and Texas mesquite charcoal refine. So they actually filtered the bourbon through charcoal to give it a smoky and sweet flavor from the mesquite. So what it should do overall is mellow out our flavors, make it smooth, and make it easily drinkable. So everything that Matthew wanted should be found in this bottle. So some other information here about this bottle. It is 43% alcohol, so that is not bad. It's about 86 proof here. And the other interesting thing about this bottle is this is the first bottle to ever have someone else's name on it besides Eddie Russell. Matthew McConaughey actually does have his signature on this bottle, so that is very, very cool. And if we look at the bottle, it is absolutely beautiful. It is a nice golden color. I really love that there is very minimal labeling on this bottle. It is allowing the bourbon to speak for itself. Overall, we just have some simple things here. We have the Longbranch label. We have a really cool looking embossed set of words here that say small batch, aged in American oak, and expertly crafted. We've got a Wild Turkey neck label, and in the back is just a government warning. But other than that, we're taking a look at just the bourbon, which is a beautiful gold color. I love the look of this bourbon. It's very, very nice looking. Now, there's no age statement on this bottle, but if you read online, it does say that it is aged 8 years. So there's nothing official in the bottle, but 8 years is kind of what we have to go by. And then lastly, we should expect something kind of sweet here, as the mash bill is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. So we should get a pretty sweet overall flavor profile with a little bit of bite at the end, coming in at the end. But overall, should be a pretty good bourbon. Let's go ahead and nose it. Let's see if we can open this here and get a good one. We did. I love that sound. As soon as I opened it, the bourbon just filled the air. Very, very nice here. And I am going to be doing my first ever review out of my brand new Glencairn. I do appreciate my friend Devin. He is a fan of the show, and he actually went out and got me an official Glencairn, so that way I can smell and taste these bourbons a lot better than I was. So hopefully this improves the quality of the nosing overall. So if I look here in the glass, we do have a nice light golden color. It is very light to medium body. We've got some nice legs coming down on the glass as it trickles down. Very, very nice. I do like the look of the bourbon. So let's go ahead and do our nosing here. of the bourbon. I can already smell it even from here. But we're going to swirl it around here a little bit just to open it up. And let's see what we get here. Very, very sweet. Very forward with the vanilla. Very, ooh, some nice caramel tones in here. You can smell oak, but very, very lightly. The caramel and toffee are definitely present. Really, really like it here. I am getting the slightest smell of smoke, and I'm gonna guess that's from the charcoal mesquite process, because I don't think I've smelled that here before. But overall, very, very sweet forward bourbon. I feel it's going to be a very mellow bourbon. Not much bite. I expect it to be very, very forward with the vanilla tones when we drink it. But overall, it noses pretty similar to a lot of bourbons. But I do say that this is a lot more sweet forward than what some of the other ones were. I am curious to drink this and see how Matthew did on his first attempt at making bourbon. So let's go ahead and do the most important part, the taste. Okay guys, well the nosing's out of the way. So let's go ahead and do our first taste and see if our nosing was close and if the actual tasting notes are going to come forward as what we smelled. So I'll say the nosing was pretty accurate. We are getting a lot of vanilla tones right off the bat here, and it's definitely filling my mouth with that very sweet vanilla and caramel flavoring. Very light bodied. The taste does not linger very long, and the heat is not really there. So he did succeed in what he was trying to do. He did create a very mellow drinking bourbon. Now the unique part about it, as you're drinking it, you get the normal vanilla and caramel flavoring, but you get a rush of like smoky charcoal taste. It almost feels like the vanilla is being filtered in your mouth through the charcoal. So it's a very unique flavor. So we're gonna open it up here a little bit more. We're gonna spin it, get some air in there. And let's go back for sip 2, see if we get the same flavors, if it opens up a little bit more. I immediately, right on the tip of my tongue, got the charcoal and wood flavoring. The vanilla once again rushed back my throat. Caramel coated it. Very, very, very mellow bourbon. Overall, to describe the bourbon the best we can, I would say it is definitely a medium to light bodied bourbon. The flavor does not linger, so it is not going to stay in your throat too long here. There is a very light burn the first sip that I had in the back of my throat. After that, the second sip did not have that at all. There was no warming feeling. There was no super burn or tingle. So the 86 proof definitely speaks volumes. They were able to create that very mellow light bourbon that Matt set out to. Now it was a very nice combination of the vanilla and caramel flavors, and then the mesquite wood flavors do kind of marry together very, very nicely. I do like that it's not a long-lasting bourbon, so it is going to coat your mouth. Makes you want to drink some more. Like, I already want that third sip because it's a very, very tasty bourbon. Overall, I think this is a really, really good one. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the final thoughts. Now for the final thoughts, I would say overall, I definitely recommend you try this bourbon. It is unique and very, very delicious. It is a good tasting bourbon. It's not complex by any means, but it is a very, very nice bourbon to sip on, and you're not going to feel uncomfortable at all. So in that regard, very, very good for someone that is new to bourbon. If you want to get them into bourbon, this is a great way to do it. Very sweet overall profile. Now, the only place I feel they may have shot themselves in the foot is going to be the price. Now, because of the Matthew McConaughey tie-in, I feel like they're hoping they can charge a little bit more for this than what they normally would. It sits in between the 80 and the 101 proof as far as proofing. We've got the 86 proof, but it does sit at $40, which is more expensive than the 101. So it's going against more of the Woodford Reserve as far as pricing. But Wild Turkey also sells one called Rare Breed, which is a much higher proof than this. And this is 86 proof compared to, I believe, Rare Breed is 116 or somewhere around there. So should you pay more money for less proofing, that is going to be the one that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. So I would say overall, my rating for this is going to be a little lower because of that. I can't give it as high of a review because of the value. I do really, really like the bourbon, but I don't know if it's worth the $40. I'm glad I bought it and glad I'm trying it because I absolutely love the flavor profile, but I can't recommend the $40 price point when there are better things out for that. We could go ahead and we could buy Russell's for $40 where I live, and there's many other stuff, Eagle Rare. So overall, great bourbon, but I think it was probably mispriced a little bit. I would say this should probably be more in the $30 range, should be a little bit more fair for what it is, and then it would sit a little bit more comfortably in their lineup. But overall, great tasting bourbon, just poorly priced. So if you have the money or you know someone that has it, please try it. Or if you see it at a bar, please go ahead and try it. It's a great bourbon with a unique little charcoal flavoring flair at the end. Now, with all that said, I am going to rate this a 3 out of 5. A good bourbon that unfortunately is probably going to get overlooked by most because of the price. It is really an unknown commodity. The name Longbranch is not really going to jump out at too many people. It does say Wild Turkey on it, but unfortunately it's not one that most people are going to know. There's not very much name power with that. It only came out in April 2018, so more and more people might buy it, but I would say I'd only going to recommend it once it kind of lowers in price, if it ever does. This might be something we only see one time, and then they go ahead and get rid of it. But overall, definitely recommend trying it. Hard time recommend buying it at that price point, because there are better options for you out there. So until next time, remember guys, drink good bourbon. Cheers. Some good stuff.